I think there is an issue, and I have on my side quite a few big names who also were on the record going and saying, well, we do think from a legal point of view, mono is dangerous. One of the issues I have here, I get a lot of flack, I get a lot of smears, I have people inciting against me, and I've even heard people in Ubuntu forums who delete comments or delete things that actually link to my articles, which are very polite, and speak about mono. Now, it's not fair for me to put a question to you about it because you didn't do that, but I think there is a level here, which doesn't necessarily apply to you personally, where a project like OpenRespect, which you launched at the time, a project that's intended to encourage constructive communication, polite communication about issues, I think it has to be more of a two-way agreement, more of a reciprocal.
No, I totally agree, and and basically what I'm saying is, the crux of what I'm saying is that if you experience misconduct in the Ubuntu community, on the forums or on a mailing list or wherever it may be, and a good example of misconduct is somebody basically denying your right to have a conversation in a respectful and polite manner, of which I know you do. If somebody is doing that, there is a difference between somebody doing that in the Ubuntu community and that being the policy of the Ubuntu community, right? So what I'm basically saying is, your comment earlier on was that Ubuntu suppresses the people talking about mono. What I'm saying is that we don't. What I'm saying is that Ubuntu does not suppress. But the Ubuntu project does not suppress the discussion of mono. No, I'm talking about the project. But what I'm saying is that Ubuntu, the project, in terms of how we officially operate and run the project, does not suppress the discussion of mono. Okay. Now, but what I am saying is that it doesn't surprise me that in 1 million people on a forum, and forums are generally, full of opinion, it doesn't surprise me that you may see instances of that happening. Now, in cases, as I've mentioned to you before on IRC, if you see that happening, you should report it. You should report it to the moderators, and if you're not happy with them, then you should report it to the Forums Council, and if you're not happy with them, you should report it to the Community Council.
Yeah, because very clearly what it means Ubuntu, and what it means, well, canonically it's very obvious. It's people, mainly the payroll. Ubuntu is a community project, so you could define it as everybody using the community in the forums, whatever. I mean, I had issues. Actually, this is, I think, flack which you gave me fairly. You try to associate people who enter an IRC channel I operate and try to make me responsible for their behavior. Or some people would describe them in all kinds of tags, which I don't really want to mention, trying to belittle these people or to try to demonize me or to put liability on me because of the behavior of people who are commenting on the site. So one person from the mono community would try to describe my work on my site as something that's calling for the death of Microsoft employees, and I'm just, what? And then it turns out that somebody, anonymous comment, once somewhere ages ago, posted some comment which said something, it doesn't even say, death to Microsoft employees. He posted a comment that's quite rude, that basically says these people don't deserve a job or something, they should be treated like, and then he gives an example. I don't really know who posted that, but this was ascribed to me. So this was put to me as though it's my actions, and it is being propagated.
I think the reason why that happens is because in any group, in any community, there has to be governance, and I think so. In the Ubuntu community, in the Ubuntu community, we have governance. On the forums, there is the Forums Council. They govern the forums, and because the forums is a big place, the troops on the ground who are doing the governance are the moderators. If you the Ubuntu forums is a place in which all discussion, as long as it's polite and respectful, all discussion is welcome. There may be instances where discussion is off topic and it may be moved to another forum or whatever, but that's the situation. Now, I'm not going to deny that human beings are human beings, and there's always going to be instances where people break the rules. We see that all over the place. We have in the United States, we have freedom of speech, but people often talk about some pretty unsavory things. And in the Ubuntu world, you're gonna find some people who are gonna behave badly. And I'm not denying that for a second. And that's the reason why we have very firm governance procedures in place. So if you have an issue, Roy, you should go report them. I think in terms of you and TechBytes, the reason why you've experienced that, where people have accused you of blamed you for bad behavior inside the TechBytes community, is because there isn't any governance body really there. You don't have.
And I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I'll explain to you why. I think if we're talking about democracy and community and things like that, whenever you introduce any level of authorship or controls, moderators, and so on, you then become tyrannical, to use a strong word.
I agree.
Feeling where some people in my IRC channels, nobody's got off modes. Basically, we only use operators if somebody's trolling the channels. In some cases, like using curse words and flooding the channel, and then we have to get rid of them because they sabotage the whole thing. And that hasn't happened in about a year. So people basically know they will get kicked out if they try to flood the channel or something.
But what you've got to bear in mind, Roy, though, is that in the absence of a governance board, let's say you had a TechBytes community council in a different world, right? In the absence of having something such as that, people will naturally associate the perceived leader of a project as the governor. So the reason why I think you've received some flack from some people is because you don't have a governance board. People see you as the leader of TechBytes because of your many contributions to the project, and therefore they see you as responsible for maintaining a polite and respectful space. So when people step out of line in that polite and respectful space, I think they blame you because of that. That's the reason why we have governance boards in Ubuntu, because we want to provide transparent governance that is accountable. And our Forums Council is accountable for a fair and happy running forums. If the forums aren't running right, then the Forums Council are responsible for that conduct and maintaining that kind of discussion there.
I mean, I think just to put an end to the sort of the round the houses discussion, because I don't think you can have it one way or the other. There's no black and white rules here. I think it was Jono who said to me quite a while ago that misunderstandings, miscommunications can happen in an IRC channel and in forums and things. And I think if you don't have any moderation or any sort of governance whatsoever, then it becomes a free-for-all, and you will get one or two individuals who will abuse that and absolutely ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a representative of a community, whether that's official or unofficial. Naturally, the assumption would be, in, say, TechBytes, or if I had my own channel, would be that it would be I had jurisdiction over that particular channel. And it has to be somebody who has to turn around and say, right, well, I fully endorse freedom of speech, but enough is enough, and you've ruined it for everybody else, and now it's time to stop. So it's very difficult. And like I said, I think it was you, John, who said, these type of things can fester and they can be misunderstood and misread, because we're dealing with text in a digital forum here where we can't speak to each other directly.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how much bandwidth is removed when you have conversations online. I mean, body language is like. I mean, Tim, a good example was around that time. We were having a discussion on IRC, and I think it's safe to say that we were misunderstanding each other. Mm-hmm. And we hopped on the phone, and within 5 minutes, it was different. And because I could hear your voice, you could hear my voice, we could express each other, we could express the tonality of what we were trying to say. But I think that people will always, human beings, I think, will always expect there to be somebody who is accountable for the action of an environment. And this is the reason why, when we make a decision in Ubuntu, a lot of people will email me, and they'll email Mark Shuttleworth, and they'll email, Rick Spencer and various other people who are seen as perceived leaders of the project, because they see us as accountable for those decisions. And I think with you, Roy, due to your tremendous work with TechBytes, they see you as the man when it comes to TechBytes as well.
Well, just a quick question, which I wanted to ask about 20 minutes ago. I mean, it's sort of backtracking a little bit, but since I think we're coming to the end of the discussion about chat rooms and things, what I'd like to mention is this. I've been following Ubuntu for many years. I've got a keen interest in things going on. And about 2 years ago, I say 2 years, it might be a little bit more, there was an article on the net about the French police migrating to Ubuntu. I don't want to put you on the spot, because I appreciate you've had no time to prepare really, but I didn't know if you could fill us in any more about that, because there's been very little about it since.
Yeah, it's unfortunately I don't really have much information. It's not really so there is a department in Canonical that deals with a lot of these kind of government rollouts, and and rollouts in companies. I mean, for example, there was a recent move to a big German insurance company where a large number of desktops was deployed.